The raw emotion of coming back
It's so good.
to nothing.
That was our kitchen.
Rubble and ash where a home once stood.
It's just gone. Everything is just gone.
All around them, not a house still standing.
We know these people, and these people have lost everything. It's not just us. It's everybody, and it's so awful.
Kevin and Anne Marie Pasmino renovated their modest Altadena home with their own hands, working nights and weekends.
Every inch was a part of us.
To turn it into a sanctuary for their two children, 10-year-old Lucille and 4-year-old Joaquin.
We were dreaming big, and we were living within our means in a very, very tight fashion.
The Eaton fire consumed that dream and all the savings the Pasminos had put into it.
We've only been given 3 months pause on our mortgage. The interest will still accrue.
That was a TV.
And now they have to pay rent on top of their mortgage. Rent covered by insurance if they can find a place to take them.
After we're done with this, we're going to go and look to try and find some places. But it's hard because we have our dog and our cat, and so many places won't take pets. And we have to stay close because of our kids' school.
And these rentals literally cost twice as more than my mortgage. What?
And the Pasminos are finding what the insurance will pay is not enough to get their foot in the door, as thousands compete for temporary housing.
The advance for the insurance is not even nearly enough for what we are required to have as proof to try and apply for a place.
It's the plight thousands of fire victims are now facing. The fires didn't just take their homes, it took their financial stability.
We've lost this house, and we don't think that we'll ever be able to be in a house again.
While the Pasminos know their home is no longer standing, many are still unable to see the status of their property. Insurance experts say that shouldn't stop people from filing a claim anyway.
My cousin Kristen Golden's surprise 50th birthday party just 2 days before Christmas. My aunt, Ann Waite, hosted it at her house on Bollinger in the Palisades, where she's lived since the 1970s.
This is the view coming in off Bollinger.
How would it be possible that in just a couple of weeks, my aunt's neighborhood would look like this?
Look at this. Everything is gone.
Complete and utter destruction and devastation. Every house around my aunt's is gone. Only a few houses in the entire area remain intact. On the day the fire started, my aunt wasn't too worried. She snapped a few photos of the smoke from the backyard. But then the evacuation orders came. She complied, leaving with almost nothing. When I arrived at work, I was sent to the Palisades.
There's no visibility.
As day turned to night, the terrifying inferno raged, and it exploded. The Palisades was burning.
There is so much burning right now.
It was like nothing I had ever experienced as a SoCal native or as a reporter covering fires here for more than a decade. The next day, my aunt and my cousins Kristen and Brian were told their childhood home was gone, burned to the ground. But then came news the house might still be standing. I raced over to see what was left. By some miracle, it basically was untouched. The moment was overwhelming.
Oh my God, the house is okay. The house. Okay, everything's fine.
The euphoria of seeing my aunt's house still standing turned to sheer panic because the house next door, just feet from my aunt's, was on fire. The hero firefighters on scene from LA and San Francisco were battling the flames with everything they had. Still, I figured I only had a few minutes to grab some photos and valuables, and then another stroke of luck. Two of my coworkers, Rena and Assad, happened to be driving by in the news van and saw me. They jumped into action, helping me grab whatever valuables we could.
I just ran into my colleague Rena.
LAPD officers even swooped in like superheroes to assist.
Get a bag here.
Thank you so much.
We loaded up my car. Firefighters stayed. They were relentless. They would get the upper hand. My aunt's house was safe, at least for now. Our family is so lucky, but it's hard to feel joy when you look around and realize how many other people lost everything. In that same hour, my parents asked me if I could check another home, the house of their lifelong friends who also live in the Palisades. Their house was gone, and I had to tell them. So much lost, so much heartbreak, but I know the story isn't over. People are resilient. We can rebuild, and we will. And one day we'll all get to go back to the Palisades and celebrate, but only after we help those who lost it all. Tom Waite, KCAL News.
Well, a devastating loss for a woman who should be enjoying her senior years. The home she's lived in for decades, gone after the Eaton fire.
KCAL News reporter Elise Martinez shows us her resolve in the face of catastrophe.
I have not cried. I won't allow myself to.
Ruth Judkins turns 90 next month, and now she has to start all over after losing her home of nearly 50 years in the Eaton fire.
That's your washer dryer.
Judkins hadn't seen the extent of the damage until we showed her some of the images that we captured for her.
If I decide I want even less, fine, but I know I won't decide I want more.
Judkins' words of wisdom have been a source of comfort for many after her granddaughter posted this video online.
Oh, I'm going to be changing my life and simplifying it because I don't need all this stuff.
That video has racked up nearly 3 million views thanks to her less is more attitude.
I have 2 closets full of clothes. I don't need all that. I used to have like 4 sets of dishes, dinner dishes. I don't need that.
Come on, Louie, let's go.
Judkins says at nearly 90, she didn't expect to live that much longer. But now she's inspired to rebuild her home sustainably and to support her community.
I want to start again, and I don't know how many years, even if I get 1 year of enjoying that home again. I'm thinking that when I go, whoever gets my house will live happily there.
In Pasadena, Elise Martinez, KCAL News.
That community of the Palisades, there's nothing like it in Los Angeles.
A Pacific Palisades jewelry store owner left devastated after watching her family business burn to the ground on video. And it is a double loss for her family. Their home was also destroyed. KCAL's Rena Cano is live in Pacific Palisades. Rena, she says she's determined to rebuild.
Yes, she and her husband, a very strong family. They've actually been in the Pacific Palisades for 3 generations and they want to stay, but they built their family here, their business here. This right here is Jamie Geller Jewelry. Unfortunately, you see that these electric lines have busted through. It is completely torched and gone. I spoke with them earlier today at a hotel room in Orange County. They tell me they went through every single emotion, everything from anxiety to sadness to just not knowing. And they told me every day they're just trying to keep it together.
Sorry, Mike. We all lost everything.
For 50 years, the Geller family has been the go-to jeweler in Pacific Palisades. But the fire on Tuesday afternoon uprooted their beloved store on Antioch Street.
I watched my store burn.
Panic set in. Jamie Geller and her son grabbed a few things and fled, but got stuck in a gridlock.
So me and my 15-year-old actually had to get out of the car and walk to Gladstone's.
Hours later, they got a video from their friend. It showed their home engulfed in flames.
House and garage, no.
In a span of 24 hours, the Gellers lost their business and their home. Husband Mike Geller, who has lived in the Palisades his entire life, can't help but be angry.
Reservoirs being empty and hydrant wells not being fully full, it's just mismanagement in so many avenues in so many ways.
Day 7 of living in a 1-room hotel room with 2 adults, 3 kids, and 2 dogs, reality is settling in. Their applications for temporary housing are unanswered, and their home will never be the same.
I had another friend in this hotel was able to give me something to wear. I wore my 10-year-old's clothes for a day. Besides all of that, and besides losing our business, it's everybody that we know lost everything. Even if we're all safe, and even if you have your home or you don't, like that community of the Palisades, it was there's nothing like it in Los Angeles.
While their immediate future remains uncertain, one thing they know for sure is that they want to rebuild here.
This is us, this is the Gellers, and we're all here and we're safe, and we will, get through this, and we'll find a place to settle down, and we will begin to rebuild and make a bigger and better life for ourselves.
And the Gellers told me that despite losing it all, they feel they are fortunate because they have each other and they have insurance. They say that once this settles down, they are working to do free jewelry restorations for people like them who have lost everything. Reporting live in Palisades, I'm Brina Nakano. I'll send it back to you.
So the Eaton fire reached beyond the borders, though, of Altadena and Pasadena. It's having a major impact on NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
It is located in nearby La Cañada Flint Ridge and is a point of pride for Southern California, with its rocket scientists making major strides in space exploration. And now we've learned that 200 JPL employees have lost their homes. Another 300 are evacuated. Wow. Jason Rhodes and Alina Kiesling are among the workers who have now had to rebuild their lives or are working to do that. They're joining us now to share their story. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
All right. Well, Alina, we understand you woke up, you were concerned about the winds, but you did not get an evacuation warning for your area?
That's right. We did know that the fire had started, and probably about 9 p.m. we went outside and took a photo of it in the distance, the glow on the sky. And when we went to bed that evening, I actually didn't really sleep. I had my phone alerting me of all of the updates to the fire, so I was probably checking it about every 5 to 10 minutes. Our area didn't end up in an even prepare to evacuate zone until, we just got the warning to evacuate just 5 minutes after we decided to leave of our own accord. I woke Jason up at 2 a.m. and just said, this is getting too close. I really want us to try to get prepared to leave. And so, yeah, we didn't get the warning, unfortunately, but we knew to be vigilant because of a hyperlocal news forecaster here. He told us that there was a lot of danger.
Absolutely. And thank God you guys did leave. You were able to watch what unfolded through your security cameras. Tell us what you saw.
Well, it wasn't actually the cameras. It was that. So we evacuated to my sister's house in Eagle Rock, which is just 15 miles from where we live. And I got a warning 2 hours after we evacuated. I got a burglar alarm from my home, and my first initial reaction was, oh no, somebody's taking advantage of the evacuation to loot homes or something like that. And after thinking about it for about 10 minutes, I thought maybe that's probably the best case scenario for why my alarm had gone off. So I went ahead and logged on to the security company site to see what sensors had tripped in our home. And I could see that over the course of about 4 minutes, all of the sensors in our home had tripped across the home. And I can only assume that was the home going up in flames in about 4 minutes.
Wow.
So we were glad we had evacuated.
Oh, yeah, these are showing now
pictures of what was left. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, what a horrible feeling and a horrible way to find out.
Yes, it really was. And of course, it was hours before we could confirm. But, given what I saw on the security sensors, I was pretty sure it was gone.
Oh, we're so sorry for your loss. Glad you're okay physically. What do you want others to know from your experience when it comes to wildfire preparations?
So I think one of the most important things that we did before we went to bed was we made sure that we had important things like our laptops that have all of our information on them, passports and everything in bags by the door just in case. And while I hadn't packed a bag of clothes until much later in the evening, clothes are pretty easy to replace. And I was able to just throw like 3 changes of clothes in a bag for us to leave very quickly. But having those other items that are very difficult to replace just ready to go at the door, and then just leaving, because essentially your lives are way more important than stuff, and stuff can be replaced. And so the 3 of us, we have a 3-year-old daughter. We got out with our lives safely, and that's really the only thing that we could never have replaced.
Absolutely. And we're so glad you all are here with us today speaking, and you're doing fine, even though we know you have a long road to recovery ahead. We know you're not the only JPL employees who have lost their homes or they're really damaged. Has the company started any efforts to help you guys?
Yes, so JPL is a division of Caltech, the world famous university, and there were a large number of Caltech people affected too. So JPL and Caltech have started a disaster recovery fund. If you just Google JPL Caltech Disaster Recovery Fund, they're doing fundraising to help the people that, not just people like us that lost their homes, but there's a lot of people who were displaced out of their homes and don't know when they can go back. And then there's people who were renting homes or apartments, and those were lost, and now they have nowhere to go. And of course, we have insurance and a process that we'll go through, but some of those people that lost homes that were apartments or just rentals don't have insurance or anywhere to go. So it's really important for us to make sure that they're taken care of as well.
Well, that's very noble of you with everything you've gone through, looking out for other people as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best on your road to recovery.
We do. Sorry again for all that you've gone through.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thousands of homes, places of worship also burned in the Eaton fire, among them St. Mark's Episcopal Church on Altadena Drive. KCAL News reporter Jasmine Veal live in Altadena, where worshipers are mourning decades of memories, but keeping the faith, Jazz.
Yeah, they're trying, but it's certainly difficult and just such devastation. I mean, this is the church behind me. Imagine. It was full of stained glass windows. It had this custom organ inside that would play beautiful music. There was a school here. That was a sanctuary you're taking a look at. All of that gone. This as dozens of its parishioners also lost their homes.
St. Mark's Church.
A hellscape outside this window as flames overtook St. Mark's Episcopal Church on Altadena Drive Wednesday morning.
He drove by and saw the church mostly burned, the community hall just catching fire with no response because the resources were so thin.
It's been a week since Pastor Carrie Patterson-Grindon, the rector of St. Mark's, evacuated her home with her family as the Eaton fire broke out right behind her Altadena house.
We hadn't been told yet to evacuate, but the fire was literally in our backyard.
She says she had no idea within hours that the fire would ravage entire neighborhoods miles away, including the church that's been here for nearly 80 years in a parish that's been around for more than 100.
Funerals there, weddings, baptisms for decades and decades and decades.
So I'm here at Altadena Drive. We are right at Home Park Avenue. That's Lake Avenue in front of me, and you have churches burning on both sides. This was the scene around 11 a.m. last Wednesday. St. Mark's Community Hall was on fire. Another church burning right across the street.
It's so hard to even recognize, right?
Pastor Carey looked at video of what was left and said miraculously the new preschool behind the church is still standing.
We have lost everything physical. So all of our vestments, the things that clergy wear, all of the we use to serve communion, and most of our records.
She says 45 homes in her parish burned. She got the news last week, though, that somehow her home did not.
So I learned about my home standing and my spiritual home burning back to back. I didn't believe it.
This will be your temporary home.
And this will be our temporary home.
A sacred space lost, but a new one forged, as her community will now gather in this temporary home inside of this church in Eagle Rock, determined to rebuild the church they lost. And Pastor Carey tells me, like so many, she is just asking and hoping for donations to help them rebuild this church. I did reach out to the LA County Planning Department's Historical Division to ask them if they even knew how many historical landmarks may have burned in the Eaton fire, and they said they still do not know the impact. They have to come out here and survey the area, but there are several designated historical sites, as we know. Live here in Altadena, Jasmine Veal, KCAL News.